Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We recite the 17th sabad from Asa Mahalla Pehla and the recitation. Asa Mahalla Pehla, kis ko kahein sunavein kis ko, kis samjhavein samajh rahe, किसे पढ़ावें पढ़ गुण बूझे सतगुर शब्द संतोख रहे ऐसा गुरमत रमत शरीरा हर भज मेरे मन गहर गंभीरा रहाओ अनंत तरंग भगति हर रंगा अनदिन सूचे हर गुण संगा मिथ्या जन्म साकत संसारा राम भगत जन रहे नरारा सूची काया हर गुण गाया आत्म चीन रहे लबलाया आदि अपार परंपर हीरा लाल रत्ता मेरा मन धीरा कथनी कहें कहें से मुए सो प्रभ दूर नाही प्रभ तू है सब जग देखया माया छाया नानक गुरमत नाम ते आया. So the opening line is in the form of an interrogation. Kisko kahe. Now most translations have interpreted this to mean to whom or unto whom. What should we say? And this is a pointer, at least in the translations, to those who have already understood. Samajh rahe. In other words, the translations that exist currently, for the most part, say, what can you say or teach those who have already understood? That is perhaps one way of looking at these panktis. But it appears to me that kis also means what, and ko also means what in certain contexts. So it is within that context that I've attempted to translate this pada of the Shabad. And so to me, it reads as, what can be articulated? Kis ko kahe. What is it that should be spoken of? What can be narrated? Suname kisko. What should be explained so that it can be comprehended? Kis samjhave samajh rahe, samajh aa jave. What should be taught? Kise padhave. What should be taught instead of who should be taught? Guruji is now referring to a very specific type of knowledge. He refers to it as it. Kis samjhave. Wisdom. He's talking about wisdom that has to be understood. And then he provides the answer. He says, listen, Pad gun bujhe satgur sabad santokh rahe. Listen to and understand the message, sabad, of the enlightener, the Satgur, in order to discern the qualities of the sabad. And here, the sabad is used for the creator. So you see the word play here. It's just amazing. So listen to and understand the message of the Guru, the Satgur, in order to discern, in other words, cultivate the qualities of the Creator Shabad. Then the mind will be a rahe, in a state of positive contentment, santokh. This is not just mere gratification of some sense pleasure, santokh. This is a deep acceptance, a profound acceptance of the way things are. Absolutely no resistance. Santokh, it's inner and outer. So that is what happens. That is what has to be taught. That is what the instruction has to be. And that is made even more clear in the Rahau Pad. And it says, Aisa gurmat ramat sarira, har paj mere man gair gambira. Aisa gurmat. So gurmat the teaching of the Gur, aisa, such, ramat, pervasive, sarira, body, which means all form. So the Guru is saying, it is through Gurmat that you discern this truth. What is the truth? That the Creator Self is such. Such is the Creator Self. How is the Creator Self? Ramat Sarira. It is all pervasive. It pervades all forms. The seeable, visible universe is pervaded by the Self. Aisa. Such it is. Here it is called Ramat. And this is, it is deep and profound. Gahar Gambira. Meaning deep and profound, how so? In qualities. They cannot be spoken of. So the instruction to us is, Har paj mere man, rush towards the self. Move towards the self from the ego. That is the instruction. That is what we have to do. And now Guruji is comparing the way of Gurmat with other practices. Very subtle, but that is the way that Gurbani is. It is very nuanced, and we have to really put aside our conditioned thinking, our preconceived notions, and look at it fresh. It says, Anant Tarang Pagati Har Ranga. So here's the first distinction that he's making. Anant Tarang. Anant is Anyatha. It has been translated as without boundary, but it also means biased. Alternatives. Ananta Tarang. Tarang is waves, also thoughts. So what the Guru is saying, there are many and diverse schools of thought, philosophies. Ananta Tarang. But Pagati Har Ranga. Those who are engaged in Bhakti, devotion, they are characterized by love of the Har Self. So the way of Gurmat is the way of Bhakti. Bhakti of the Har. Devotional love. Makes it very clear here. And then now, other practices. Andana Suche. You know that practices in India are all looking external practices. Purity. Purity of mind. And the Guru says, Anandana Suche, what is being Sucha for me? Pure in Gurmat. Harguna Sangha, cultivation of virtue. That is the equivalent of being Sucha. Mithya Janam Sakat Sansara. The Sakat. Sakat, one who remains caught in his own conditioned, biased mind, in the ego, that is. One who seeks personal glorification, also a worshipper of Shakti. So in other words, somebody who's enmeshed in self-glorification, caught in his own conditioned ego, the Guru is addressing that person. This is us, essentially. And Mithya Janam. Mithya is spurious, false, a delusion. We are living in a delusion. The Sakat's life, our life, he's saying to us, remains caught in the illusion of conditioning, sansara. It's like a wheel. But the devotees of Ram, the self, the Bhagats, they step out of this cycle. Ram Bhagat Jan Rahe Nirara. So, Nirara, one who steps aside, one who stands out. So we are meant to stand out from the run of the mill. Is one way of looking at this, is to become exceptional. Suchi Kaya Har Gun Gaya. Suchi Kaya, the body, is Suchi, meaning it is actually the sacred space. It is the sacred space, Har Gun Gaya, where divine virtues are cultivated. It is within this body, because this body is the medium of experience. So you cannot avoid the body. The body is inextricably linked with the spirit, with the mind. So this is a structure, it's a complex. So within the body, the Guru is saying, Har gun gaya, virtues are cultivated. Therefore, it is a sacred space. Treat it that way. Don't abuse the body. And within the body, Atma chine rahe livelaya. Chine, to find. Find the essence. Atma, the soul, the self, the essence. Also one without inertia, light. And it is also cognate with breath, Atma. So, in other words, find your essence within. And rahe livelai, remain centered in it. And then he explains a little bit about what the self is. He says, Ad, apar, aparampara hira, lal ratta mere man tira. So let's examine these words, Ad. Now we usually translate Ad as saying the beginning of time or before time. But I think one way to look at Ad etymologically is the origin. So that's how I've translated it. Ad apar aparampar hira. This self, the essence within, is the origin of the universe. It's the source. But it is apar. We usually translate apar to be without boundaries. But apar also has a sense of being apart. It is the source. It is the origin of the universe, but it stands apart. It's transcendent, in other words. So you see, it is transcendent. It stands apart. What is in the universe is its essence, hukam. And it is infinite, aparampara. That is the nature of the self, the essence, our essence. And Guruji says, it's hira, diamond, but it signifies the quality of being precious. Precious, lal, is beloved. Rata is to find, to be absorbed in, to be imbued with. Mera man tira. Ad apar aparampar hira, lal rata mera man tira. That's what happened to my mind when I found in my essence this self who is the origin of the universe, but who transcends the universe, who is infinite. It is precious and it is beloved. So the Guru says, my mind has found solace, mera man tira, in the embrace of this precious and beloved self, Hira Lal. So the self
and
is
the concluding
beloved.
stanza here, Kathani kahe se muए, so prab dur nahi, prab tu hai, sab jag dekhya maya shaya, nanak gurmat naam te aaya. So the Guru says, to speak of or to account for. Kathani means to account for. To account for the self, Kathani kahe, as many do. Kaheh, he's used the word twice. In the first instance, it is to account for or to speak of, as many do. Kaheh se, muए. Those who do try to account for the self are actually spiritually dead. What they are doing is they're engaging in make-believe and fiction and idle talk. So prab dur nahi. The self is not far. Indeed, you are the self. Prab tu hai. So the point is, you have to learn how to speak and connect with yourself. And that is what Naam is all about. So Guruji says, Nanak Gurmat Naam te aaya, sab jag dekhya maya shaya. Gurmat gave me Naam, knowledge of the self. And when I saw the essence of the self, in other words, when I discovered, when I began to live with it, Or when I found this precious beloved, what did I see? Sab-a-day Maya Shaya. The world is a projection of the force of this creator, which is called Maya. He's projecting out this universe as Maya. Shadow. This is a shadow of the self. So connect with the source, not the shadow. On that note, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.